Hello. Okay, welcome everyone. For today's class, we're going to use a lot of props. So I have a bolster out, a folded up blanket will work, 2 blocks, a strap, and maybe even a chair. If you don't have a chair, no stress, no worries. It's just a variation that we might bring in. So come into a comfortable seat. Welcome everyone. And allow yourself to soften. You arrived, you made it here and now. And our theme, kind of ongoing theme, is about softening and even merging with what's already there, the grace that's already present. And of course, it takes effort, right? You had to get here, all the things, and then some of the positions are perhaps hard. And my curiosity lately has been around that effort in the context of surrender, like what that can feel like. The back body is an ongoing theme that we've been in the past 2 weeks. I'm going to continue to play with that and look into some of the technical alignment principles that we call the loops. And as we played with last week, we played with what we call the kidney loop, the waistline sliding back, and the shoulder loop, the palate sliding back. Today we'll continue with that, of course, but then tap into the base of the shins, down by the ankle, sliding back, always moving to the back body, and the tops of the thighs, moving to the back body. That's our little play today, because what is in the back body? Everything, right? Everything's in the front body too, but it's easier to connect into that place of the bigness, I think, when we register into the back body. So to merge our own hearts with what's there, all the possibility, all the bigness, your big self with a capital S. Starts with an S, so it would be a capital S, self. So that doesn't mean we deny all the other stuff that's perhaps coming up in mind and in life. But for this practice, we just open ourselves, open our hearts and our minds and our bodies to that part of us that doesn't necessarily operate from the same habits and knee-jerk reactions with the same kind of preferences. Just going to slide awareness to the back body. Connect in with your breath. And as you allow awareness to shift into back body and you soften around the playful awareness of your breath, just notice perhaps that your front body got softer, your forehead might have softened a little bit, maybe the jaw. If you like, you can bring your hands to your heart to continue to invoke this grace, which we know is always present. The big heart, the heart of all things, the Hridaya is always here. Yet we playfully invite ourselves to merge with that heart. I'm just playing a bit with Brittany's wonderful harmonium, which has amazing sound. So we'll take the sound Om to the harmonium today 3 times. Continuing to feel your breath flow. Deep breath in and exhaling. And as you bow your head to your heart, witness line sliding back in the humble posture of this bowing to the practice. You can release your hands. If your hands are at your heart, open your eyes and lift your gaze. We are going to start our practice today on the back, grabbing a strap. First of all, though, we just draw both knees into the chest, a little Apanasana. And yeah, so checking in. That feels nice for your body. Rock back and forth a bit. Just gonna make sure none of our friends are coming in. Yeah, softening, feeling nice hydration of the tissues, perhaps in the lower back, and breath flowing in and breath flowing out. Sends into your hip sockets. So perhaps you sense into the crease of your hips. Feel that deep fold. Sense into the knee crease. Nice deep fold of the knees. And then if it feels good, you can circle your knees independently of each other. So the knees will go away from the middle and then away from you, then toward the middle and then toward you, or the other direction. And of course, if this doesn't feel so great, you don't have to do that. We're just inviting some gentle movement, awareness into the body, feeling that already things are flowing with more ease, tissues and fibers starting to slide and glide around each other in the hips, in the lower back. Great. And then go ahead and bring the knees back in, and then stretch your left leg long to the ground. And just feeling this here for a moment, a nice separation of the legs. And then if it feels available to you, we're going to take a one leg happy baby. So the right foot flexes toward the ceiling. You can hold on to the ankle or the baby toe side of the foot. If that feels too much for the front of your left hip or thigh, please bend your left knee and place your foot on the floor. It might be a little too much right out of the starting gates, but it might not. So some version of this one leg happy baby as your breath keeps flowing. Yeah, and then as you're here, I see nice gentle movement and stirring happening, which is of course good. We don't want to be super static with ourselves here. Yeah, excellent form, everybody. And now we're going to grab the strap, and I do want us all to use a strap or something similar on the ball mound of the right foot. So we're still just with the right leg up, a version of Supta Padangusthasana. And then as you get here, we're just going to take a couple of knee bends. So as you exhale, bend into your right knee, and as you breathe in, stretch your leg. Let's go straight. So sometimes I say towards straight, but let's go straight today. And then feeling into, wow, how cool. Thigh bone creases in hip socket. Thigh bone and shin bones have a little crease. Ankle joint has a little crease. And nice happy tissues moving around each other, saying nice things to yourself to support function. And of course, breathing. And so just notice about how many of those knee bends you did so that you can recreate that when we do the second side. And then come into the Supta Padangusthasana with more or less of a straight leg. And then invite the base of your shin bone to slide back in space. Yeah, like that, Elizabeth. So just feeling in the base of the shin bone. So we're inviting awareness to go all the way down to basically the ankle joint. And we're inviting that ankle joint, the bottom of the shin, to slide back as you breathe. Now, for some of us, that's get to the back plane of the body. That's it, right? So for some of us, it's going to feel like, wow, calf and Achilles. Hello, good morning. Yeah, so it might be a little intense, but we're just inviting that nice base of the shin bone to slide back. And then reach long through the right leg to lower the right leg all down. And as you're breathing, you're just also witness your amazing, intelligent body, how the tone and the core naturally kicks on as you reach your leg down and lower all the way down. And then there at the bottom, just pause for a moment. Allow yourself to be in repose, feeling. Right, beautiful. So when you witness, oh, there is a change in just a few minutes of movement from leg to leg, perhaps more ease, more release, more comfort. It's good. We're working with the nervous system as well. And so now we draw the left knee in toward the chest. So we just give that a squeeze for a few breaths, or maybe a squeeze isn't the right feeling for your body. For some of us, it might feel good to hug, squeeze that shin in. But if that does not feel good, if it feels pinchy in the hip, or if it doesn't feel like your knee wants to bend that much, please, please, please listen to the cues in your body. And then we shift to that one leg happy baby. And some of us bent the long leg on the floor and put the foot on the floor, because that's a pretty if it is, it's a pretty big stretch for the front of the hip and the front of the thigh. And so ultimately, as you're breathing here, we're attuning to, yes, the back body, right? So as you feel into your back body, that's the part of yourself where, your wisdom just is. And we're not competing with ourselves or anyone else, because there's nothing to compete with, right? So we're tapping into that place. We're not grabbing after a shape that's not available to us. We're feeling into what's appropriate for our own bodies. And there's a big range in each of us. We all have various life experiences leading up to this moment. As we come into this space, Zoom and physical together, and we can all be practicing together, and our shapes will be different from time to time, because that's back body, right? We're like, okay, yes. Okay, now we come into the Supta Padangusthasana version with the strap across the nice wide ball mound of your left foot. And then we breathe and bend and stretch. So feeling and saying, so we're not only feeling authentically, we're putting in positive words, feeling the ease of flexion of the hip and the knee, nice bends, and tissues, muscles, connective tissue having an awesome relationship with one another, sliding, gliding, allowing, accommodating, moving around each other. Feeling perhaps over this span of time that ease increases as you're breathing. how quickly that happens. And then after you've got about the same amount on both sides, then we stay there in a relatively static position. And then you see if it's possible. So there's certainly a lot to feel into here, but we're curious. We're practicing curiosity about the base of the shin bone sliding back. Yeah, which, you know, it's like, okay, well, does it? Yeah. For me, it's kind of radical for the Achilles and the heel, and it's beautiful. And we're just breathing with that. And sometimes there's so much going on that the inquiry into the base of the shin bone sliding back isn't available. And that's okay if that's what's happening for you. And we breathe. Amazing. Yeah, if nothing else, it's a big calf stretch, right? So we feel into that. Hopefully feels nourishing on some level. And now go ahead and reach long. And again, you can be present to the wisdom of your body. You don't even have to think about it. And your belly gets strong as you lower your leg. And so we recognize what's already there. And of course, keep practicing to feel more of that wisdom and intelligence. So help yourself over to your side and then up to your hands and your knees. And breathing, of course. Okay, so let's just take a couple of cat and cows. So with the breath in, you draw the chin forward and up as the tail rises. And as you exhale, the chin goes down and in as the sits bones carve down. Going back and forth a few times. Feeling how your waistline goes when you lift head and tail up, your waistline comes to the front plane. And then our inquiry today is as the head and tail go down, the waistline slides way back and we're filling up into the back waist. And coming back to a neutral spine with your breath, flex into your feet. Really tuck those toes under. You were already there, Yana, but for the rest of us, I think flexing the feet. And we're just going to rock back and forth a little bit, or perhaps it's a lot. So feeling into your body, feeling into your feet, perhaps. They may or may not be used to having the toes this flexed. With perhaps a little bit of load and weight. So just really honoring the stretch perhaps for your soles of your feet as you breathe, and also honoring your toes, right? So this, you don't want to feel pain in the toes. And you might feel that the front of the ankle joint, the base of the shin, is in this position, moving to the back body. Super cool. Then go ahead and point your feet. And then similar, we'll do this quite as many times, but you're pressing back toward more of a Virasana type of shape. Not all the way, but we're just easing back and easing forward. Yeah. And then feeling into how the tops of the thighs get to go way back. They really glide back in their hip sockets when you push your hips back. Nice. Mobile, hydrated gliding of the thigh bone and the hip socket. All the tissues around it are accommodating. Yeah, feel nice. Sits bones really widen back. Gorgeous, windy, beautiful. Okay, so now maybe we are ready to come on up and come into our friend downward facing dog. We were probably ready before, but now is the moment. So feeling your breath here, you can tread your feet. And of course, there's all sorts of sensations happening, and your experience is real. You get to have it. And I invite you to also witness all that goodness that's happening. All of your tissues are like, yeah, they are sliding around each other and getting more easeful. And take some steps to come forward to the front part of your mat. And just allowing a couple of breaths, right? So feeling, it's almost like, well, for me, of course, we're all different, but for me, it's like, it just takes a few moments for those leg bones to settle from the hips down through the legs to the base of the shin bones into the feet. The feet get a little remembrance of being in this position. Everything starts to get more easeful. A few breaths into it. And bring your hands to your hips, elbows to the sky. With an inhalation, come on up. And if you tend toward lightheadedness, then take more than one breath. And then you can exhale your arms down. And as you breathe in the next time, stretch arms out and up. And then just slide the hands with an exhale back to the heart center. And let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in, just scooping up space, taking up space. And exhaling, letting that come back into heart. And then one more time. And exhaling, hands to heart. This time as you breathe in, you're going to push the hands forward. And then you're going to like grab the space with your fingertips and pull back as you exhale. So let's just play with that a few times. Breathing in, push forward. So we're stretching the wrists out, spreading fingers, and exhale to kind of grab some space and pull it back. It's a little bit different. Sensitizing into the hands. And when you spread your fingers like this, it's really great for the heart, for the lungs. The hands occupy a lot of space in our brains, right? So it's like, ooh, what's happening with the hands? And then this time, as you breathe in, pressing the hands forward, you're gonna make a fist, and then turn your fist, steer your fist up. Take a couple of breaths or a breath or two there. So working, you feel the front of the top of the forearms working, and then we go the other direction. Feel the bottom of the forearms, extensors and flexors of the wrists working. And then reach forward, then spread your fingers out, reach, and then arms come down. And of course, just breathing. And then you can circle and or shake or combination. Big hands. As you breathe in, stretch your arms up. And as you exhale, fold forward. I invite you to bend your knees. Nice soft base of the shin bones. Feel how when the knees bend like this, the base of those shin bones go back, the ankle joint softens back. You might even feel your foot get a little longer. The heel starts to move back in space. Take another breath there. And as you breathe in the next time, step your left leg back to a lunge. And just settle through your front leg. Settle. The front leg tends to want to do more of the work. So we're just seeing if we can settle down so that there's not a hardening in the front of the ankle, but instead there's more of a absorption of the front of the ankle toward the back of the ankle. So I'm using that word, the front of the ankle and the base of the shin, interchangeably. Of course, they're not the same things, but we're just trying to get down into that area and feel what's happening. Another deep breath. Go ahead and bend your back knee a bit, not all the way, just a bit, so that you can feel, oh, okay, that might be a stretch on the foot. And we're not only making the knee go down, we're making the base of the shin slide back. And then look at that. Then the top of the thigh bone slides back too. So we're just moving these particular nexuses of attention to the back body. Then lower the back knee all the way down. With an inhalation, lift your upper body up. You can stretch your arms if you like. And as you're taking a couple of breaths here, keep allowing your awareness to go down and to the back body, specifically at the base of your right shin, the top of your right thigh, the waistline, and then the palate. With an exhale, reach forward, place your hands down. We'll take a twist, grounding into your left hand, turn belly and chest to the right. Feeling breath flowing in. As you exhale, maybe the waistline gets to flow back a little bit more. So it's certainly something you do, but we're also witnessing, effort in the context of surrender. What is that? Well, you can only experience it. It's a little bit in the in-between space, in the liminal space. In my experience, next exhale, place your hands down. And then lift your back knee up, step yourself back to downward facing dog. As you breathe in, come forward to plank. Bend the knees a little bit so that you feel the tops of the thighs sliding back and the base of the shins sliding back. Now try to keep that awareness even as you stretch your legs straight. Take another breath. We stopped breathing here in the physical classroom. Next exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Take as many steps as you like forward to the front of your mat. And on your next breath in, step your right leg back. And here we are. So in a very open, inquisitive mode, feeling all the things. And then directing some attention to the descent of the left shin down so that the front of the ankle can absorb toward the back of the ankle. Ever so slightly press your knee toward me. Yeah, just slightly. Good job. So we just notice these tendencies. I think most of us notice, oh yeah, the front leg likes to do more of the work than the back leg because it's in the front body, right? That's what the front body does. So we're just inviting awareness to go behind us a little bit. And then you soften your back knee, not all the way down, just some, feeling into how the top of the right thigh bone then gets to move to the back body a little more. You feel how that makes the sits bones spread a little bit, might enhance breath. And then some of us are getting a little more of a foot stretch. Follow your next exhale to lower the back knee down, and we playfully rise up. Right, so playfully opening to that essence, the Sara inside. Over effort. I don't think we can over effort. Well, we can't over effort, but we're trying not to over effort, right? It's good. Take another deep breath. There, and next exhale, reach forward, place your right hand down and enjoy a twist. Yeah, good, Wendy, with the leg. And so we're just feeling in to the luxurious opportunity to breathe into the back body. And the waistline back, the palate back. Yeah, those aren't our main focuses today, but might as well. And as you exhale the next time, place your nice deep hands down, lift your back knee up and step back to downward facing dog. Lift your toes for a moment. See if you can spread them, not only the toes, but the ball mounds. Spreading the ball mounds, then lower the toes with spread toes, spread ball mounds. Soften the knees. And just breathing here soft knees, feeling again the base of the shins sliding back, the tops of the thighs sliding back, which, wow, that creates a lot of openness, I think. See if you can keep, this is the caveat, see if you can keep the base of the shins sliding back and the tops of the thighs sliding back, and slowly move your legs towards straight. Yeah, and just feel into that. Like there's a certain moment that you might be like, oh, wow, the tops of the shins like popped back. I mean, I didn't see that per se, but you might feel that a little bit. So you're just being in the conversation, in the play. Hey, Yana, see if you can squeeze your heels in a little bit and steer your kneecaps slightly wider. Yeah, just playing with that. Beautiful. That got your outer hips a little more engaged. With an in-breath, please come forward to plank pose. And as you exhale, lower your knees to the ground. Organize your shoulder girdle for a moment. Side body's nice and long. Arm bones back. Shoulder blades on the back. Engaging the outer armpits down. And then as you breathe in, chest comes forward, lower, almost all the way down. And as you exhale on up. So we're going to do that about 5 more times. Now, here's the thing. Yep, and not so much the head, Jean. So homework, if that's hard, because that is hard, homework would be to do this at a wall. So in the classroom, we're fine. But you can do this at the wall. Anybody can do this at the wall. You just do push at the wall with good shoulder alignment. It's a lot less strain, and you can do a lot of reps and get strong. Good job, nice job. Okay, next one, you can stay down, stretch your toes, and nice cobra. So the waistline slides back, the palate slides back, the arms slide back. Nice, Susan, in the shoulders. Take another deep breath, and on your exhale, come on down, flex your feet, press back to downward facing dog. And as you exhale the next time, bend your knees, lift high in your tippy toes, look forward, step or jump forward. Utkatasana, bend your knees. Let's actually take a few breaths with fingers on the outsides of the feet. So the hands are down, and we're breathing here. And boy, let me tell you, someone says Utkatasana, and all of a sudden my jaw, I'm like, wow, I got this. And so that's just me. But notice your own tendencies here. See if you can soften the ankles back, soften the thigh backs. So maybe it's a little less muscular, maybe. Lift your upper body up. My tendencies don't necessarily mean that they're yours, but we just keep looking into ourselves. Next exhale, fold forward. Step your left leg back to a long lunge. Lower the left knee down to the floor. Point your back foot and make sure that your toes actually reaching straight back. Yep, good job. And then we're going to see if you can press down into that foot to perhaps lift the, hold on, Jen, lower your knee. Reset your toes, fan your toes towards Susan, and then rise up. Good for you. Excellent. And then exhale to lower down. That's just more of a stretch for some of us for the front of the shin, which might have needed a little stretch. Now you're going to scoot your back knee forward. So you're in a shorter stance, front to back. Bring your hands to the inside edge of your front foot. Extend your spine long, and as you exhale, soften your upper body down. And we play, right? So there's definitely the effort of stomping down into the front foot. And then you play within that effort. Like, how effortful do we stomp down into the front foot? Like, that's the practice, right? If it makes us, grip the jaw, or if you feel kind of a stagnation in the base of the shin, then it's too much, right? So we play how much is just enough as we breathe and witness, of course, all that there is to witness here. And in that witnessing, of course, we are training ourselves to say positive things to ourselves, so that we're bathing our inner landscape with a positive culture, right? So we'll talk about that in a moment. That seemed kind of abstract. I'll tell you what I mean. And then we're also inviting the base of the front shin to slide back, the top of the right thigh to slide back. So here we are again, this deep, deep, deep hip flexion and pretty deep knee bend. It's part of our game today. And help yourself up. Reframe your front foot, lift your back knee, step back to plank pose. Your choice of how you lower down. We're just going to lower down once. So you can lower your knees or lower your whole body with good alignment. And Cobra, Bhujangasana, any shape. And of course, we're curious about that playful effort, sliding the waist back, palate back. Good for you. Next to exhale, lower down. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, press back, downward dog. With an in breath, let's lift high on the tippy toes, and as you exhale, bend the knees. Nice hinging of the hips, step or jump forward. And step your right leg back. Lower the right knee down, point your back toe. Now there's just a tendency to sickle the foot. So we look back, we make sure the toes are pointing straight back. If not straight back, slightly to the right, then press down into that foot. Maybe the back knee lifts. It might not lift, right? But remember, every shape is not for everybody. We come into this moment with our unique life experiences, and we can still practice together. Lower the back knee down. You might narrow your stance front to back as we make the front shin, back thigh more vertical. Bring the hands to the inside edge of the left leg. Elongate your spine. And we're breathing here in this awesome shape. Right, so what I was saying is, like, we're bathing our inner landscape in a positive culture, because we know and we remind and we rehearse in our practice all these things. We all probably know that every single thought you have has a chemistry, creates or it releases certain neurotransmitters or hormones or both, and it affects your blood, right? So we're choosing to train ourselves with positive self-talk so that, because they say the brain is always listening. Most of the time we're operating unconsciously and subconsciously. Yes, even yogis, we're operating from pre-existing programming. So we're like, okay, that's cool. So in this moment, I'm going to choose positive thoughts so that my inner landscape is healthy, because that does affect how the genes behave. So taking that time to practice for yourself and of course all your loved ones. Help yourself up. Reframe your hands around your front foot. Lift your back. This time we're going to step forward into Uttanasana again. Then Utkatasana, base of the shin slide back. Tops of the shins come forward. Tops of the thighs go back. And then you can stretch your arms. And then, the curiosity then, it's like, of course it's like yoga poses, they're not easy. We're exercising, we're using our muscles, but how effortless, how much surrender can you bring in? Can you soften the base of the shins back? Can you soften the tops of the thighs back? Next exhale, fold forward. Step back to a downward facing dog. Lower the knees to the floor. And we're gonna come into a Virasana proper. So a lot of us are gonna use the double blocks stacked, the low level of the blocks, and then you'll put it between your ankles. Similarly, the toes will need to straight point, not even straight back, but slightly wide. And then you reach your sits bones back to sit down on your blocks. Now, I just went for the double block. Not all of us will need that much height. And then some of us, if we even have, it depends on the kind of chair you have, but this is something to play with perhaps, is that if you have a chair and you can play with coming into a Virasana type shape like this. So we have options, and we breathe. Right, and so there's potentially a lot going on, maybe not. So sweet with self. So come forward. We're not done with that. It was just a little tasting in. Then we're going to turn the toes under like we've had them, like we have them for a lunge. The toes are tucked under. You can reach back and grab your toes and kind of pull them forward if they don't want to go. And then we sit back again. Now for this one, the double block is probably going to be more desired than was in the first one. And we breathe. Oh, wow. The bottoms of the feet. I mean, amazing, right? It's like mind blowing, this tissue on the bottom of the feet, how incredible it is. It's really the beginning of the back body, the feet, the beginning of or the end of the back body. Now, as you feel into this, perhaps your mind can notice the base of the shin bone is flowing up. It's going whoop, and then that encourages more space in the knee joint because the top of the shin is coming forward, and then the top of the thigh is dropping down. There's this little opportunity, pretty easeful opportunity for alignment when we tap into these loops, which, well, I'll define it. So the shin loop begins at the base of the shin bone and flows back, and then flows up the backs of the calves and up. The knee joint flows forward and then down the front of the calves. And so there's this literal loop, this alignment current that we're tapping into. But of course, I'm mostly instructing you in through just certain nexuses. Come on forward again, stretch your toes. Let's do one more Virasana. So as you sit, and your feet might need a little break, that's fine if they need a little break, a little more blood flow, a little shake, a little pat, and then you sit back again. So in this particular inquiry of this Virasana, the shape of the foot kind of makes the base of the shin bone go down toward the floor. Wendy, just bring your knees closer together and your feet further apart. Yeah, that's very good. So I'm going to invite you to press your toenails down so that we're actually using a little more effort to make the base of the shins flow up. It's good it might be hard to press the toenails down, but you can feel how that activation creates more of this ankle loop and the shin loop. It's really good for the knees. Some of us might feel that right away as space in the knees. And some of us might be just doing our best to breathe in positive thoughts, which is, of course, a wonderful thing to do. Let's interlace the fingers in front, flip the hands inside out, reach the arms upward. And with your next exhale, the hands come back down and come to regular hands and knees again. You move the blocks and step off to the side. As you feel ready, and I mean that by like check into your feet. What do they need? They might not want to jump into a downward facing dog, but as soon as they feel ready, go for a downward facing dog. So I completely acknowledge that if you don't do this kind of movement with your feet and your lower legs a lot, it's extreme, right? And around here, we love to hike in the mountains and walk a lot. So it could be a lot. So we're just really honoring where you are in your body as you invite here in downward dog, the base of the shins to slide back, the tops of the thighs to slide back. Beautiful. Wow, Susan, that looks amazing. With your next breath in, lift and extend your right leg up. And with your exhale, step that leg forward. And from here, so we're going to walk the hands forward, as far forward as you can get them. So we're stretching the upper body forward. Yeah. Then with your right arm, you're going to bend your right arm and press your right upper arm into your right shin. And I'll turn to face you. Yep, like that, Elizabeth. So you're just going to go, and then you bring your hands back so that you're pressing your upper arm into your right shin, your right upper arm into your right shin. And then feel how you might get a little more softening of the right base of the shin back, and even more deepening of the top of the thigh back as you're using your arms to help extend your spine long. Step back to downward facing dog. Lift and extend left leg. And as you exhale, step left leg forward. Bring your arms way forward. So we're like really getting way out there. And then now, so the idea is like, oh, is it possible to get the left armpit in front of the left shin? Right, so we had to extend our accordion spines, which everybody did really well. And then you retract your arm back so that your arm, yep, that's it. When he presses back into shin, top of shin actually can press forward a little bit into the upper arm. Excellent. Wow, you guys look so good in your feet and your calves. Great. As you exhale, the next time, step forward. So we've done a lot of knee bending. So we're going to come down into the squat. We're not going to be here for very long. Most of us will want to separate the feet wider and go for an external rotation of the thighs, knees, ankles, and toes. Not a huge turnout, just some. And then we come on down, soften thighs back to come down to your squat. And there's, again, this great opportunity, front of the ankles, go back, amazing. Beautiful, beautiful. And then we sit down. So perhaps you use your hands, you sit down. We're going to keep the right leg in and extend the left leg long. And we want to be, yeah, amazing. I like this. There we go. So we're hugging it in. So similarly to what we just did, we're going to reach the right arm up, up, up. I'm using my left hand to help support the length of my spine. And then you reach forward. So like we just did in the lunge, you reach way forward. And then maybe you can bend your right arm to press your arm into your shin and breathe here. And then if that's pretty reasonable, you can just bring your hands down here. Then we just breathe in and breathe out. So a little bit of pressure of the arm into shin, shin into arm, like a hug. And then just feeling. I love this for getting into some of those little muscles of the lower back. You may or may not feel that love, but we're also going for a pretty deep hip flexion on that right side. Excellent work in your ankle there, Miss Elizabeth. Yeah, that's it. And then help yourself up. Nice tall spine. Extend and reach right leg long. Draw left leg in. And let's see, I didn't say this specifically. You can play with having your foot a little bit wider. Okay, so your body is yours. Jan, I'm going to suggest that you do that a little wider. Okay, support yourself with your right arm. Lift your left arm up and reach forward. So we're reaching, spine long, ribs long, armpit long, breathing. And then slide, bend your left elbow and see if you can press your upper arm into the more of the top part of your shin. And then your hands, find a happy place, right? We don't have to, but we get to find where to position our body in some of these shapes, especially these kind of bendy ones, so that you can breathe and find relative that looks much more balanced for your body with your foot a little bit wider like that. Good, nice, Francis. Great, and then come on up, nice long spine, stretch your legs long. You can shake out your feet or your ankles a little bit, because we're actually doing a fair amount with the lower legs here and the calves. And then shift again over to your hands and your knees. And spread your fingers out. Just be careful, but go as wide as you can with your fingers. And just take a moment there. And then come a little bit in. So when we're weight bearing, we don't want to be as wide as we can. We want to have those radiant, happy fingers, but you feel how there's a little bit more security and tone there, and not that overstretching. Now we're going to just pick up the right hand, kind of like you're picking up a golden coin off of the floor, and then you're placing it back down, and you're picking up the left hand and placing it back down. So we're just going to do that a few times on each side, little hand pickups. Weird. Hand exercises. But actually, when you do it, go like this. So you're actually like, yeah, picking up. You're like grabbing something, pinching something. Great. And then place your hands back down. Just notice how, I don't know, stronger, lively, clear, comfortable they are. Fill in adjective of your choice. Then spin your right fingers to the right, and then your left fingers to the left. So your fingers are turning out. We breathe with that. Now, this is not to hurt you, right? Like this is, if it feels bad, then we need to back off a little bit. So then you're going to turn your fingers back, and you might notice I can't turn both of my fingers back at the same time. So maybe you turn your left fingers forward, your right fingers back, and just gentle, not 100% pressure down, or the other, or like that. Yeah, Yana went like this. She sat back and she's taking a lot of the pressure off of the hands and just stretching the wrist without as much of her body weight descending down through gravity. So, and of course, if that's too much, we can do something like this as well. There's always options. And, you know, because we're well practiced, I tend to not do the most remedial things first. If I don't give you an option, always ask. Okay, let's bring the hands back through neutral. And then we're gonna come up and bring a block in front of us as we come into a squat. We're just gonna play with some Bakasana shapes, okay? There's not, you don't necessarily need to do any of these, but we're gonna play with about 4 different versions of Kakasana or Bakasana, the crane or crow pose. So we're in our squat and we reach an arm forward We do this to get lots of space in the ribs and the spine. And then you bring it down and pull it back like we've just been doing. So we literally want the upper arm underneath the shin. And then we do that with the other side, reaching forward. Actually, the block needs to be closer in for me, and then pulling back. And then we breathe here. See if as you shift your weight forward a little bit, you can focus on the base of the shins flowing back, the tops of the thighs flowing back, and maybe the hips and or feet get to lift a little bit. Or not, right? Just take another breath and come on down. Yeah, good with the hips, Jen. And so we're talking about. Now we're going to bring a bolster or a nice soft blanket or a pillow, and then just bring 2 blocks for the feet to perch on. So we're going to perch on the blocks like this. Now that is just it's for safety, but if this does not feel safe, then we're definitely not going to lift the feet up. But again, we're going to reach one arm forward and up, lengthen that side body so that you can get the upper arm in front of the shin. Same thing the other side, reaching and placing. Then perhaps as you come forward, base of the shin sliding back, tops of the thighs sliding back, you might be able to, yeah, Elizabeth, that's it, the deep squat. Maybe one foot lifts up and then down. Maybe the other foot lifts up and then down. And then that's that. We come on down. And you can step off of your thing. And now this is where we want to play. You're more than welcome to do one of those variations again. Otherwise, I'd love us to sit in a chair. I'm going to move you in a little closer. We literally sit in it with the blocks in front of it. And like we've been doing, we're going to bring the feet underneath. So deep knee flexion. And then bring the legs a little closer together. I'm sorry, the feet a little close together, the knees a little wider apart, as if in a squat. And then turn the other directions. And then you reach one arm kind of forward and up to lengthen your side body and your spine. And then you bring that arm forward and down. Maybe you get your arm all on the shin and on a block. And you do the same thing with the other side. And then maybe you lift your feet up. The blocks are too high for me. I'm discarding my blocks. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, beautiful. So as you're here, I invite you to flex through your feet like that, Susan. Flex through your feet, get the base of the shins to slide back. Yeah, exactly. You felt that, Elizabeth, how the tops of the shins actually press into the upper arms and the tops of the thighs move back. This is it's no joke. It's still a hard pose, right? Good. And then help yourself up and out of this. Just sit up in your chair. It's good work, huh? So all the different ways we can do something kind of like that. Little arm balances. We can take some weight off. Let's move the chair off to the side and come to sit. And stretch both legs out long. So sometimes finding this movement to the back body, it takes as much effort as it takes. Sometimes bent legs can help. So I'm going to invite you to press down through the base of your shins and let the knees lift up a little bit, and then feel how the tops of the thighs go down as well. And with that, you might notice that your spine gets a little bit longer. And then play a couple breaths with that. Might feel good to have the knees a little bit bent like that, or you might work your legs all the way straight, depending on how you're feeling. A few more breaths. Some of you are welcome to come into a very long spine. Nice, Jen. That's it. Beautiful. Folding perhaps over your legs. Take this time to not only listen to your body, but like respond to what it's saying, right? Life moves pretty fast for most of us, even with the wonderful lives that we have. So this is our moment to slow down. And help yourself up if you're in a forward fold. And we're all going to roll back. So, Yanni, you can move off of your bolster. And so now we're just going to start to pull the navel up away from the pubis and then pierce the navel back. So you'll come off of your sits bones. The sits bones steer toward the backs of the knees and the heels, and you just keep lowering down. Now, for most of us, there's going to be an inevitable space of like, what now, right? Where you like want to just like kerplunk to the ground. And so be in that space of waistline moving back. You might need to bend your knees and even hold onto the backs of your thighs. Just see if you can bring some, light to that perhaps shadowy space. Nobody had a shadowy space except for me, of course. But sometimes there's a spot where the strength doesn't reside. Once you get down, just be there. Do an honest check-in. And by that, I just mean, if you're good like this, like really, if you're good like this, just stay. But if your body really needs some support, if you feel any sort of unhappiness in the hip sockets or in the lower back, you either do an adjustment or put a bolster under or blanket under your knees. And just perhaps witness how this is an opportunity where your body just naturally flows from front to back. Noticing where awareness is, if awareness happens to have a location. And just lovingly, if awareness is not at back body, just allow awareness to come into and coalesce into your back body. Allow a sense of to expand into your back body, sensing the contact that you have with ground and the texture and or temperature or weight of back body on the ground. And from back body, allow breath and awareness of front body start to emerge. As if you're a spring bulb and you're keeping your back body in contact with ground and just allowing life force energy to move toward front body and breath. And as you feel ready, allow a little bit of movement, feeling into some gentle movement, perhaps fingers and toes. And if you like, you can reach your arms up and overhead, giving yourself a full body stretch. Release that stretch if you haven't already, and bend one knee or both knees and roll to a side, and let your head be on that arm or that side that you roll to, so that your head is, that your neck is in line with your spine. And help yourself up to your comfortable seat. And as you come into this space, this posture, this gesture, feeling into really the reverence, the sacredness of this practice that you show up for, that this effortful softening into really the parts of you that are already wise and perfect and whole and complete and utterly connected to all that is. So we bless ourselves for showing up, for rehearsing and repeating that which we know, but we also know that we have to be in the practice and in the space of us. So we honor ourselves as well as each other for making the practice so full of heart and delight. Namaste. Thank you all so much for practice. A couple of announcements. We have lots of classes on the schedule, but one of the announcements is that Brittany is doing some really cool